a good song, man. I mean, most of the Ace Attorney games have really good music. I know that when it comes to like the original Phoenix Wright games, I actually found like a hardcore like metal cover of it. Oh my god, I love it. It's on my frequently played playlist. My playlist is called FAQ, Frequently Audio Queued. That was it. I thought that was clever, but maybe that's just me. Because I always think I'm clever, but it doesn't matter. Anyway. So, I snuck in a stream on Monday. Got the rest of Chapter 4 done with, which was great. I loved it. We figured out, spoiler alert, you know, that Rolly unfortunately had tampered with the crime scene. But because of that, we could still deduce that it was an accident. No killer. It was just Miss Olive Green was a victim of circumstance, unfortunately. But yeah. But she's recovering, so that's good. Hopefully we'll get to, I don't know, chat with her at some point. That'd be nice. Anyway, we're on the final chapter, the adventure of the unspeakable story. Ooh. Unspeakable story. Story's big. What do we got? The Hound of the Baskervilles.
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical Hound of the Baskervilles."
I think that was a real Sherlock Holmes story, wasn't it? I know that in the TV show they actually turned that into an episode, which I was about to spoil, but I'm not going to, in case anyone hasn't seen it and wants to watch it. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. Anyway, our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country, and in Soseki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court, which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. 15th April, 9:13 a.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. I'm not going to do sound effects. You guys can see that. You heard it. That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. Oh, look, the attic's all populated with their stuff. That's cool. But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Susato-san? Yes! Is it time to leave for court already? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes! Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. Oh man, I fucking love breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. I thought you just said we don't have anyone. Let me see. What case is it today? You just said... Here we go again. Alright. Tell me about the telegram. It's clearly on your mind. So what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning. I mean... Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. Why you always lying? Sorry, but you're not going to get away with that. Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing. Nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. It was just a boring old telegram. That's 3 times now that she's tried and failed to convince me it was nothing. I promise that I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. I suppose Soseki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he? Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already, or be just a few days away. A fortnight ago, we had that very long telegram from him, do you remember? Complaining of seasickness? But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? I was just wondering, what might have become of Soseki-san had he stayed in London? That's all. You mean, as regards Lord Van Zieks, the Reaper? Yeah, I can't help wondering if seasickness would have paled into insignificance in that case. The Reaper. What is it they say? That no one who stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? The way that nightmarish trial ended on the very day we arrived in London. Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. Yes, but at least Soseki-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably that means... that the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps? Even if that's the case, it's a little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding. Hey, that guy, how you doing today? You having a good... Oh, it's way late where you are. You having a good evening, dude? If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself. Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely not wielding that sword against more acquitted defendants. No, I don't think so. Apparently, Lord Van Zieks hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. Oh? Yes, since Soseki-san's trial, he's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. Wow, I can't even talk. It's midnight over there? Damn. Well, thanks for dropping by, dude. I appreciate it. I hope your day went well. And that your night's going well as well. Well? Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. So, it's just been me who's had to face him in his recent spate of trials, then? Ugh, just my luck. I like how you say just your luck, but you've won against him twice now, so I wouldn't be too afraid of that. But anyway, I wonder if luck doesn't come into it. Sorry, what was that? Oh, nothing. Never mind. Bitch, you hiding something from me. What was in that telegram, damn it? Let's just go to Sholmes' suite. 15th April, Sholmes' suite. Morning, Runo. Morning, Susie. Wait, Runo. Naruhodo. Oh, Ryunosuke, that's why. Okay. I was like, Naruhodo doesn't have a Runo in it, but Ryunosuke's close, so. Good morning, Iris. Iris. What is it, Runo? What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Yeah, Yes, you noticed that, did you? Does he have a gun in his pocket? Hurley isn't in the best form this morning, it seems. Wow. He isn't. Hello. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. A good morning to die, perhaps. Has something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before. My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Jeez. Damn this blanched existence! That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. Boy, he's gloomier than I on, well, every other day. I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble. Kitty! Hi, kitty. Oh, look, it's Wagahai. Good morning, boy. Oh. I assume I don't have to do a voice for him. You can clearly hear what he's saying. Or she. I don't know. That must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. How did it get there? They installed it? Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. Ugh. It would indeed be a fine day to die. Ah, I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. Yeah, it looks very empty. Alright, talk to me, homie. Why do you want to die? You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? It used to be the case that in my hands, this violin sung like the dawn chorus. Its melosonic tones would make flowers bloom. It would. But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? For hours I have bowed, for days even. Through the night I have endeavored to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone. Gone forever, no more recitals of unbridled emotion. Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley? Don't worry, I'm sure we'll come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man. The next, they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh, dear. Ah, why is this happening to me? If they take the turn I have for the violin from me, what is left for pity's sake? What is left? What about your detective work? Deduction perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? Yes, the missing machine, that's it. Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but your desk looks rather empty today. Ah, well done, Mr. Sato. Your observational skills do you credit. Oh, no, Mr. Sholmes. They pale in insignificance when compared to yours. You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Hurley's great analytoscope? That's at Windibank's now. Sorry, it's at a windy bank. No, Windibank's, the pawnbrokery. Oh, are they having trouble making ends meet? Pawn? What? You mean you pawned that enormous machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see, quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed what little income I have to you. Dear madam, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbroker is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is. It doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. Oh. What's to understand exactly? Okay. I thought I knew, but maybe I don't, so go ahead and fill me in. What did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks. Banks? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. Oh, how ingenious. So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at the Windy Banks, you see? Wait, getting in the way? A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain? Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Okay. Well. Do I examine stuff? Hi, Iris, let's talk. You said something about breakfast. Waka. Alright, let's talk about the kitty. Mr. Natsume's cat seems to have settled into his new home then. Oh yes, and I've become very attached to little Waggy. It would appear his previous owner has completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their mews as empty as the hearts of the muses. If Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Well, I don't mind, because Waggy is adorable. I would agree. Cute frickin' cat right there. Yes, he really is. Oh yes, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from? Oh, you noticed? You are observant, Runo. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. What is that? I call it the Cat Flapple. Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats? That's right. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. And it can do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see. Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap rather than making a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe, but now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. They showed a picture of the cat flap machine. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that means the cat flap machine. Gonna be important later. Don't ask me why. Waggy, what happened? Oh, what was that? Wagahai? What the fuck's going on? What was that? Oh no! Wagahai's tangled up in your violin! I think he thinks it's a toy. No! What's he doing to it? Oh dear, Mr. Shulm's precious violin! Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. If the cat is a more accomplished musician than I now. Mr. Shulm's really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives, shall I, Hurley? Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. Why does this look important? It looks selectable. Can I select it? These are all mementos of Mr. Shulm's past cases, I think. If he'd been involved in my case, I wonder if the beefsteak from La Carnival would be on display here. A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection. It looks like an untidy assortment of junk to me, rather like what's on my own shelves. Well, you really ought to learn to keep your things in order, Mr. Naruhodo. No favoritism there at all. Alright, let's check his violin. Why is there a pipe in his test tube thing? Sorry, I'll come back to that later. So this is the violin, is it? It's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier, Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. It doesn't really look like anything special to me. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. How honorable of you. And until today, it had been my faithful companion in every great Paganini-inspired performance I have made. I ask you, is there reason to live in a world devoid of music? To tolerate this blanched existence? No! There is none. Mr. Sholmes? What, dear madam, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? Hmm? What do you mean, Miss Usato? Oh, Susie's right. Yes, the tone of the wood is completely different. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack here before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this? I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all. Then what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola. What? What? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, are you alright? You're right. You're quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what, pray, is this piece of stringed flotsam? Not your faithful performing partner, then? Ah, I see what must have happened. You do, Iris? This is just a simple mix-up. Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. Do I have to go talk? No. I investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. No, I just want to go this way. Alright, let's talk to her again. So what did you mean by a mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this viola, I mean, was at Windybanks until last week. Ah, at the pawnbroker's? Not Mr. Shome's beloved musical partner. There is a proverb from the East with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel. Yes, indeed. So you sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea! Last week, I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument. But it would appear Mr. Windybank mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Pshaw, fine state of affairs this is, and why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker. They will try to fiddle you every time. But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbrokery as an extremely secure vault. Come, Mr. Naruhodo, dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toast with that vacant aspect, fressing your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by our own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? You must visit Mr. Windybank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? Precisely, Miss Susato, without a moment's delay. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect, to fress your egg ever more obtusely. Alright, say no more. Let's go then. Don't worry, Runo, I'd be happy to heat it up for you again later. Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I am rather curious to see what a British pawnbrokers look like. I guess we are on the move. New location at 2 new locations. So I'm gonna go to the street first, just to see what's going on there. Looks like an empty store here in the pawnbrokers. Look at all the different things in the window of this shop. Ah, that's Windybanks, the pawnbrokery. Looks much smarter than a pawnbroker's in Japan, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. If pawn shops at home rather inapproachable, personally. It reminds me of tearfully parting with my favorite fountain pen. I felt so miserable. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, Mr. Naruhodo. I can look around? Oh, this is our place. 221B Baker Street. I don't think we need to look around too much. Let's just go to the pawnbroker shop. Boy, there's a lot of items here to look at. 15th April, Windybanks Pawnbrokery. So this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here that I've never laid eyes on before. Ah, Susato-san, and that spark of wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to scour the shelves, can you? I get the impression you enjoy places like this. Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We are calling on matters of business, not pleasure. Clearly, Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, sir, welcome back. Did you hear that? Brazen welcome. Well, yes, we are potential customers, after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo, and it's time to inform Mr. Windybank of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot. The violin. Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes? This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windybank. The color of the wood is different. It has holes in it. It's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me. An inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. Sorry. Calm down? I shall have to take my own life. I don't think that will be necessary, do you? If I may just say one thing before I pop off. Yes? It was you, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Sorry? As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard, "Ah, here it is." You did? And when I turned to controvert you, you had taken the violin and left, sir. Oh, this scene? I forgot this scene. Yeah, considering what he just said about how Sholmes took the wrong thing and left, I'm assuming it's important for us to be here to learn about this shop. That's just my train of thought on that. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May this guilt die with me. No, stop, my dear fellow, the fault is mine. Phew. It would appear that the fight is over. The fight? I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windybank. Evidently my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Sherlock Sholmes without that questionable disposition, now would you? I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I needn't remind you of the peculiar collection of items you've brought through my door in the past. Oh, peculiar items? I can't do a voice for her. In the extreme, ma'am. For example, the unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work, the novels of Sherlock Sholmes or some such. Oh my! A new fully fledged novel? And unpublished? A story I have yet to read, you mean? No, forgive me. Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. I love how neither Susato nor Ryunosuke reacted to the man nearly committing suicide. Well, I imagine it's... I don't know. I don't know 1800s Japan like an expert does, but I'm pretty sure seppuku was a thing back then too. Anyway, let's listen about this story. I must know more. Tell me everything. Wow, Susato-san is really fired up. Is there really an unpublished story under this very roof? Well, one day the gentleman here brought me an old metal chest, you see. I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Windybank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir, not a farthing more. It houses something of very great value indeed. The latest manuscript, recounting the adventures of one Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. I beg your pardon? A manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do, for I am confident it will be quite safe here. And that was that. As such, Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Of course, sir, of course. They're safe and sound with me, I assure you. On my life. This is all very strange. Seppuku was frowned upon, though? Was it? I don't know. I heard in World War II that soldiers would do it before getting caught and taken prisoner, but I don't know. That's about the extent of it. Anyway, let's talk to him about pawnbrokery. I wonder, could I ask you something? Ah, a gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that sable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? But for your splendid attire, ma'am, 5 guineas, no less. The colors are exquisite, the design exotic. Eastern artistry at its finest, I must say. Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting. Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here? Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokeries are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of our customers utilize the establishment as you described. I appraise their items and offer them a proportionate loan in 2 months of secure stowage. If, in that time, they repay the original sum to me plus the agreed interest, their items are happily returned. But what happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed, then? That's right, ma'am, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Windybank, is an absurdity. One should never talk of one's demise so casually. Says the man who was telling us all it was a good day to die only this morning. Holy crap. Why do I keep... I'm gonna turn that frickin' sound down, I swear to God. Morrow's rating me? Oh my god, Morrow. Thank you so much for joining me. How you doing tonight? Oh, I gotta practice using my command. Hold on, 1 second. S-O... Morrow. Do I have to type the whole thing out? I have no idea. I don't know how my own command works. Found it! Got it. Ah, god, that doesn't work. What the hell is that? Anyway. Apparently, I couldn't read my shout-out to figure out what you were playing, so I hope whatever you were playing, you did well. But welcome, and thanks for bringing all your friends to drop by. How goes Ace Attorney? It's going interestingly. I mean, we're on the last chapter of the first game, and it's only just started, so not too much has happened. But, a tiny chick invented a machine that makes cat doors and doors. And apparently Sherlock Holmes can't tell the difference between a violin and a viola. But then again, I don't think I'd be able to either. Oh, you started Final Fantasy VI. Okay, cool. Cool, very cool. Did you get far? I wasn't able to tune in. As soon as I got off work, I ate and then had to start this. Because I'm pretty sure this is going to take longer than 5 hours. And it's 8:34 here, so. But yeah. Thanks for the raid again. I hope the rest of your day went well, too. Tomorrow's Friday, so TGIF. Oh, and I sent you a snap on Snapchat to show you my new samurai relic. Just to try to make you a little jealous, so enjoy that. Anyway, says the man who was telling us that it was a good day to die this morning. Oh, I forgot. I gotta go back here. And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. Oh? What sort of measures? I engineered a simple device which Mr. Windybanks has installed here in his shop. I call it the Red-Handed Recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Windybank? What was that deep sigh about? Yeah, I'm kind of curious too. An invention by Sherlock Holmes. I mean, Herlock Sholmes. Apologies. I'm not allowed to use that phrase. They spun it around for copyright reasons, but we all know who it is. Let's talk about it. What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are 2 just below the ceiling. Sorry, I'm actually looking in the background trying to find this thing, but maybe it's not actually there. Anyway, I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Very astute. It is indeed a camera, furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shot. Ah, that's going to be important, isn't it?
Here, I have an example I could show you.
Ah yes, a print from the camera set to record the activity at the shop counter. I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness. Really? That's extraordinary. Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it, look! Something about that's gonna be off. So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. But, did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30-minute intervals? Indeed, as you must say, my dear madam. Then what if the incident were to occur in between times? One could only say, that would be a cruel twist of fate.
I must confess your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Windybank. Surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word.
It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not one, but 2 cameras in my shop after all. Which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day.
Oh, he's actually paying for the film? That sucks. That's gotta be a lot of money back in that day. Oh my god, that relic, stop. No, I don't want to stop. That's like, I just want to show him off. I got it fast though, which is, you know, cool. I'll maybe work on Machinist one next, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe Astro. Technically I have a tank weapon and 2 DPS weapons now. Maybe I should work on my healer weapon. Weapon, quote unquote, you know. It's so pretty. It is pretty cool looking, yeah. I mean, at first when I saw it, I kind of like underestimated it. I was just like, it's okay. But then, after looking at it for a little longer, it kind of grew on me. Like, it's not over the top shiny like its other form, the one you have, but the blade glows and it's got the cool like semi-black holographic diamonds around the hilt guard. So yeah, it does look pretty cool. But yeah, I'm happy with it. We gotta get yours. We gotta get you yours. That's what I tried to say.
I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older.
Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery, no? My dear fellows, we verge on an age where safety and security come at a price.
Oh, heaven help us.
Oh, I guess we're done here.
Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin.
Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windybank.
Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop, Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer.
I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt.
Fear not.
Sorry?
I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed.
That's not really what I meant. Good day to you then, Mr. Windybank.
It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes.
Alright, he's only loaded 1 bullet. That's going to be important. I'm just, like, saving all these little facts that I'm sure are going to be important later down the line. 2 cameras, 1 bullet, the violin thing, and Mr. Sholmes' manuscript is back there, whatever. I'm almost level 10 in the Southern Front. Good for you. Very nice. All you gotta do is a few more critical engagements, and then we can run you through Castrum. And then you can continue, you know, the story. Well, you know, it's a side story, really, but we can continue your progress towards more relics. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway. So, Mr. Naruhodo, now we can explore at last. Oh, are we actually looking around here? There is a lot of shit in this store. Sure, let's just start somewhere. There seems to be a little door hidden behind that curtain there. That leads to the storage room, where Mr. Windybank keeps articles that are currently in pawn. Ah, I see. There's nothing of particular interest inside. I certainly wouldn't recommend any larcenous activity. Recommend it or not, it's not something I tend to do. There is but one key, and Mr. Windybank keeps it in his pocket at all times. Before he sleeps, he places it into a small pot, which he slides under his pillow.
How on earth do you know about that, Mr. Sholmes?
I am a detective, sir. It is my business to know what others do not. I am frequently assailed by information that I neither care for nor wish to retain. Mr. Sholmes, you are a wonder. The prime suspect of this pawnbrokery is ever burgled. Thank you for being the voice of reason, Naruhodo. Castrum sounds like a nightmare. What makes it sound like a nightmare? It's just another 48-man raid. A 48-man raid. No, it's not that bad. It's pretty easy. The next time, once you finally get to the point where you can do it, I'll join you and I'll give you all the tips and tricks and all that. Not that I'm very great at it either, but at least I know what to do. So, anything else? Oh, shovels? Is that what I'm looking at? Oh no, counter. Okay. Look at that enormous ledger open on the counter there. Mr. Windybank is, if nothing else, very particular about recording the items he accepts. He'd have to be, otherwise he'd get himself into all sorts of trouble. Which might explain the thing that catches my eye far more than the ledger. Wait, what? Is it the picture of the dog up there? Because that's just cute. Or is it the gun? Might be the gun. Or that thing that looks like a Far Eastern notepad. Oh, it's the gun. Okay. This revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering an article herein, my dear fellow. I assure you, Mr. Windybank would not hesitate to draw that weapon with a speed belying his portly size. Oh, you don't mean he'd blow his brains out? Indeed, in recompense for his blunder. Oh my. But in any case, of course we would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it? Okay, I guess that's everything on the left. Anything on the... Oh, what's this? Look at this! Look at this lovely big shiny box beat. That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you have such things in your own country? Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before. Gonna leave you on lurk, gotta go to bed soon. Alright, well I appreciate the lurk, Morrow. Thanks for the raid. And... well, don't feel too jealous of the relic. We will get you yours, don't worry. But, yeah, if I don't talk to you again, I hope you sleep well, have a good rest of your night, and I will most likely talk to you tomorrow. Oh, I forgot to... Okay. Whoops. No. Oh, I guess we're playing it. History, hold on. Shall we listen a while? Ah, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. I've never heard anything like it before in my life. This particular specimen is of the larger variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There is a metal disc inside on which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played. My goodness, what a simply delightful machine. Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. What else we got? Ooh, shelves over here. Let's look. What an assortment of things there are on these shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks, and watches. Almost anything you care to imagine. Those are forfeited items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn, or colloquially pop, an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale at a price of his choosing. Oh, yes, now you've explained it. I'm noticing little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform? Never. It embodies my student spirit. Why are you still referring to yourself as a student? You're in England. You've been recognized as a lawyer. Enjoy it. Alright, I think that's everything on this side of the room. Alright, what is this thing down here? I was looking at that when I first walked in. Look at this! Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. Ah! There's a small catch just here, look! We're going to open it, aren't we? Oh my, that's amazing! It has some sort of spring-loaded mechanism, which we'll never manage to put back to the way it was before. What are you two doing? What? Us? Nothing. No, nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. It feels as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. Oh, look. It is a calendar. April 15th. That's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? 15th April, today's date.
Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It is an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date.
The perfect calendar for a tearaway fellow such as yourself, Mr. Windybank. Who was it who walked out of here with the wrong violin before?
Well, when the agreed storage period is passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. It's something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say.
Oh yes, I can see you're very dedicated to your job. I guess we can look at the door. 3 globes of gold. Is that some sort of charm? Dear me, have you not seen that sign before? No, never. The 3 golden balls are, in Great Britain at least, the universal sign of a pawnbrokery. There are more than 700 such establishments in the capital, all showing this same sign. Oh, I see. Ah, I had not imagined your ignorance was so profound. Oh, well, what is the significance of the 3 golden balls, then? Does it have some special meaning? That is entirely unimportant here, dear madam. Irrelevant, even. I mean, you don't know. Oh, this machine. Okay. Now, what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have 2 little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you are looking at is a stereoscope. A stereoscope? Fascinating. It is aptly named, I assure you. Look through the eyepieces and see for yourself. Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me a moment while I just have a look. Just before you do, there is something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically, as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today. Alright then, I'm going to try it. Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, you must see, at once! Oh, alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed, like I'm trying to look at my own nose. What the? I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of depth is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? It is no magic, my dear madam. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day. Oh. What? Only tuppence for it? That ain't fair and you know it. The article is barely worth a penny, miss. I cannot offer more. Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Come on, that can't be right. Have you even had a proper butcher's at it? I've seen all I need to see, young girl. Oh, don't tell me it's Lestrade. Yep, it's Lestrade. Wait, don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her. Oh yes, it's the young lady from Mr. McGilded's trial 2 months ago. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer. Earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. Oh, good. I was hoping to run into Gina again. Gordon Bennett, you lot! Hello, Miss Lestrade. I hope you've been well. What? You remember me then, do you? Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So, what are you doing in here? Down and out like the rest of us? Nothing to eat? Come to pop that black weasel, sorry, coat, have ya? What is it about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Oh, good day. Unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ah, Mr. Sholmes. So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see the article, and I shall negotiate with Mr. Windybank on your behalf. Pull the other one. I don't need no help from some stuck-up D. Get out of my business. Go on, or I'll make trouble for you. As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I will happily remove myself from your presence. He's really done it. He's gone.
I'm sorry, but as I said, there's really no room for negotiation here.
What is that thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc? And you, go on, leave me alone. Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest. Susada-san can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. So, talk to us. How you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Kinda missed you. Mostly did. Somehow, I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, well I am, alright? I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That a problem, is it? No, not at all. It's just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. Probably got it on the dive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright then, I'm just going to come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. Suppose, sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade? But not this time, alright? I swear. That thing belongs to me. The disc that Mr. Windybank is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. At least the game's nice enough to be like, hey, you just talk to this other guy. Alright, back to you, Mr. Windybank. Miss Lestrade's disc. Mr. Windybank, what exactly is this metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface.
Oh, this is a music disc, you see, for use inside a music box.
In a music box? What, you don't even know what a music box is? Eastern lot ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is. I've just never seen one of these discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and beautiful music plays. It's so incredible. Tell us, what tune is on this disc? Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are so many different types of music box, you see. British-made, German, Swiss. I have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies. He told me he did. He said it was... well... who? He who? Never you mind. It just ain't right, that's all. That disc's worth good money, I know it is. Well then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Ah! She's been in before, of course, this little tatterdemalion. I see. And brought some dubious articles or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the dish she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. Ah, a storage ticket, so... Miss Lestrade has actually come to redeem an article from you today? Is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs storing. Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight. But as she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest, I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Windybang. The little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat that she redeemed. Oh yeah, she wasn't wearing that in the trial. Oh. What? What's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. Probably her brother's or her dad's or something. Little memento she has from them. So what about the disc then? How does that come into all this? Ah, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn if the girl and I can agree on a price. Tell me about the article, buddy. I'm confused. I thought you said that Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket, and the money owed on it, as you say. For this heavy black coat, which you returned to her care, as I'd understood. That's right, yes. And rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mean this disc, then yes, exactly, ma'am. And she immediately tried to pawn it. For quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up. I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Miss Lestrade, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me old man. It's me old man's, ain't it? Is it, Miss Lestrade? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious. Out of my way, please. Sorry? Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And
And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve.
Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line.
Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket.
Huh? Who are you? How do you know who I am?
The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems.
What? You mean from you?
Broker.
Yes, sir.
I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no?
Yes, sir.
The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once.
Oh my. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull?
Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say, any music box discs too.
No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man's, or it was, now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yeah, I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Alright, time to talk to everyone, I guess. The gentleman's accusation. Miss Lestrade, is what the gentleman is saying... What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before. Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now? No, I swear it. I swear to God.
It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street, minding my own business, when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself, those wretched pickpockets.
Yet again.
Oh yes, as you can see, I am a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time that I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat.
Come along now, Mr. Strut. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Hold on, why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this dandy cove, and you think I'm the dodgy one? I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you. Well, what about evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence that I've stolen something? Hey, come on, let's see it.
Oh, I have evidence, naturally.
What? Alright. Go ahead. Lay it on us. Twitch decided to be very stupid, so I was away from it. Not a problem, buddy. Not a problem. Oh, jeez. Hope you enjoyed your dinner. And I appreciated the little factoid about how seppuku was mostly popular between 16 and 1700 and 1930 to 1950. Very, very good to know. That explains why I knew what I knew, but it didn't add up otherwise. Oh god, I'm so... Ugh. My posture's terrible. Sorry, I just had to stretch. Anyway, evidence that the article Miss Lestrade redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course, we need only consult Mr. Windybank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant. I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Oh. I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine. But why not? Well, now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity. Anonymity? Anonymity. Yes, I see. But then how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it? Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question?
Of course, it's... Professor.
Oh, don't tell me that's Moriarty. Anyway, watching from my PS4 and typing chat on my phone. That's a lot of effort just to talk and watch, but I appreciate it, dude. I hope you're taking it easy then. Just chilling, lying in bed. Always nice. Always comfortable. I love my bed. Anyway, yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt. A watchword. Interesting. Go ahead, school me on them watchwords. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windybank. As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. The fuck are you doing over there, Holmes? Stop staring at the girl. That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets? None at all. Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. The date of deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article? That's right, sir. Yes. Just as soon as the requisite fee is paid.
And I have supplied you with the information you require already. But for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat deposited 2 months ago on 15th February. With a watchword of Professor.
All perfectly correct information, sir. Wait.
15th of February, 2 months ago. Wasn't that when the whole thing went down with Soseki?
I feel like it was, but I guess we'll find out.
But ow! Really, this is beyond a joke now. There is no further room for doubt.
Ugh. Who am I conversing with now? Am I talking to... Oh, I can talk to him now. Excuse me, but who are you?
One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you.
Oh, sorry, yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here.
Oh yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup, dressed up with exotic spices.
You might be thinking of somewhere else. What was that theatrical gesticulation about?
Perhaps. Anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first before inquiring after the name of another.
Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Susato Mikotoba. I am Mr. Naruhodo's assistant.
I see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Eggert Benedict. Enchanté.
He's so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious.
Now to the matter at hand. My overcoat. Return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off.
Grr. Every move he makes, every breath he takes. Can't stand watching him. He put a coat on a coat? So, let there be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Eggert Benedict, sir.
With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back.
This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar.
And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, Broker.
But of course, sir, here is the disc for you.
Just this one?
Pardon, sir?
I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another.
Another disc. Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that what was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now.
So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you?
Says who? I don't know nothing about it.
Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style.
Wait a minute, that disc is mine. Ah,
What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal.
oh my. Yes, there's blood on the disc. It's because of all those sharp little bumps. The man must have scratched his finger on it then. I found it first, alright? I mean, it belonged to me, old man. So you're not having it. Oi, you take it. Me? If I hang on to it, they'll have it off me again. So you keep hold of it. Miss Lestrade, why is this disc so important to her? Cool. Evidence. I can finally examine something. The keyword is Professor Layton's theme starts playing. Oh, is that what happened? That's pretty interesting. Nice little nod to Layton, then. I gotta examine it all. Look at all the little bumps on the disc. They're so tiny. Yes, the protrusions are called pins, and they pluck the teeth of the comb to make notes. And just on the edge, there's a small amount of blood. Yes, the blood of the mysterious Mr. Eggert Benedict. When Miss Lestrade tried to grab the disc from him, the pin scratched his fingers, it seems. Like when you're grating some daikon radish and accidentally catch your finger. Ouch, just thinking about it hurts. It puts me off eating radish. Nah, it's a joke. Well, I wouldn't be too surprised if it was true. Hello. Ooh, I can read what that says. That says for McGilded. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck onto the reverse side of the disc. Look. And a scribbled word or two. It looks like somebody's name. For McGilded. McGilded? It couldn't be. But it is, Mr. Naruhodo. A name I shall never forget for as long as I live. But why? Why is his name on this? Updated. For McGilded. If only they could play it in the music box.
You there, in the black livery. Hand that disc to me at once, please.
No, don't! He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? By leaving. Can I just leave? Would they say anything? That'd be kind of funny. I wish. Layton's song is great. I just... Ooh, 1 second. Sorry. I just wish they'd actually done that, because that would have been really clever. And they are pretty good at being clever. Can we put it in this music box? I would really like to put it in this music box. Look at Mr. Windybank watching diligently over his shop. There's still so many things I'm curious about. Somehow I don't really feel like this is the right time to be browsing. Calming this fraught situation must be our first priority. And I'm fairly certain that we can find just the great thing we need among the articles here in this shop. You mean like... Oh, I forgot to talk to him. Whoops. Mr. Sholmes? What are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? I doubt since Capcom doesn't own Layton. Oh, I thought they did. Well, I thought they owned the company that made Layton. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to look in that look. Am I even saying it wrong? Look. Because the R kind of goes look. or whatever, lurk in the shadows.
Cruelly ostracized, the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So, feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, this 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know. Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. Nope, level 5 is independent. Well, worse since they're bankrupt. Well, then I'm surprised they didn't sell off the IP then, because if that was one of their more important ones, they could have at least gotten something for it. You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again? My dear madam, sometimes I wonder, were my genius for deduction to be commoditized, how much could I pawn it for? It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. But who knows if it will help or resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman. It's the right thing to do here. What else can we do? We listen to the deduction. Let's do it. Yeah, to be honest, I hope Capcom buys level 5. Level 5 and Capcom are like Nintendo and HAL Labs. HAL Labs is the one that made Smash a long time ago, right? Do they still make Smash? They work together ever so often, but they're two different companies. Ah, okay, I see. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. Where the blue blazes have you been, eh? Pardon? When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away. Not an hour later. Harsh. And who, pray tell, are you?
Mr. Agate Benedict. You have, in my eyes, a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon? The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? Ow. It's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg. It would seem that once again Mr. Sholmes has made flawless deduction.
Just who do you think you are, sir?
Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for. Gents are supposed to be there to help. Cue Leighton entering the shop. To be honest, I'd love to see Leighton dissecting Sholmes' deductions. I'm going to take your word for it. I mean, all I have to go off of right now is, you know, Sholmes and Naruhodo going at it. And that's pretty entertaining. So, Leighton might be good too. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Why is this one not in red, though? I used the red the last two times, I think. The Great Deduction. Topic 1. Mystery Man's Aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different.
as revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to the shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. I didn't see where he looked, but he just grabbed his cane. The cane, which you unwittingly clutch to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot. I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. I don't know what a ferrule is. What the hell's a ferrule? Layton would tear his deductions down like big puzzles. Layton's deduction skills are second to none. He's been doing it for nearly 40 years. Nice. That is an impressive amount of time to be solving puzzles and mysteries. The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. Ah, I see. And yet detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle? Mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod. Oh dear. Is the broken handle of a shovel. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. To tunnel underneath the pawnbroker. Alright, topic 2. The great crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel. What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose? Save for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, but there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let's consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway that flows in the very close proximity to the Great Vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you... In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. Postcard of the Great Exhibition? I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece at the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank, on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of that bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. For rule is the bottom tip thingy on the bottom. Yeah, I just learned that. He answered that real quickly, but then again, this game has a habit of, whenever I have a question, it seems to just answer it real quickly or leave it till the last chapter, so I guess we'll just see what comes next. To be honest, Layton would likely bonk Sholmes often for being so cocky and saying undeniable truth. That's just his personality. It doesn't matter what anyone says. He doesn't seem to ever grow out of it. But anyway, thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Mr. Sholmes? Well, Mr. Naruhodo, an impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me in the strictest confidence. But you just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly, in fact. Ah. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly it is because the man is a criminal. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Winterbank will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all.
On my life, I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous.
Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them, and once word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruhodo, an excellent idea. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yes, let's listen to that great deduction again, and see if we can massage it into shape. I love giving deductions a good massage. Man, Sholmes is giving me big Catriel vibes. I think Catriel's been reading the same book as Sholmes in this chapter. It's only on his deductions. Normally he's actually a pretty smart dude, Sholmes, as long as you kind of steer him in the right direction, I guess. Very well, then let us start once more from the beginning. Of Sherlock Sholmes' magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Start with topic 1, the mystery man's aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured into this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. So, by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, in an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? What did bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Okay, let's take a peek around. Nothing on his head. Oh, but there's definitely something on the back of this note. Oh, look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness. There's even a sketch of her hat and all. Although if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoker dead launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of this shop have been written down here too. Windibank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline, 15th April. Which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper? That's the only thing, isn't it? I mean, I am curious why the cane says AG and his said his name is EB, but still, all Catriel's does is just deduct. Also point her finger around with wild speculation and accusation with no proof most of the time. Well, at least to Sholmes' credit, he, bases it off of evidence he observes, but it's not exactly always the right evidence. But anyway, I think this is the info we're looking for, so...
Take that!
I'm gonna go ahead and present that. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to the Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery here. Ah. You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean here to Windibank's pawnbrokery, and today the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutched to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak of is, of course, the missing ferrule. I don't think that's how you pronounce it, but I don't freaking know. Yeah, fair. He's a few steps ahead of Catriel. I haven't seen her yet, but I also find him at least amusing. But, Catriel most of the time just speculates around shooting everywhere. Shooting everywhere? Does she have a gun? What's a ferrule? It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, the bit that makes the nice clacking sound on the pavement? Yes, exactly. And Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. Though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. My guess is the lettering here. Look here, Mr. Zato. There are some letters on the handle. Ah, yes, those must be the initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with their first letters of their names. So, Herlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously... Oh. AG. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right? Because his should be EB if he's telling the truth, so...
Take that!
The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing.
A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are E.B. Yet in a most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials A.G. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't... You said before that you'd had that cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Potato, potato, you're right. Shooting everywhere, as in she just accused... Oh, she just accused everything in the sun. Okay. That is annoying. I agree. Benedict actually had a hood. Benedict actually had a... Oh, you mean a good way to mask the AG on the cane? Yeah, if he just put his hand over it the whole time, no one could have seen it. Anyway, let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Mrs. Lestrade redeemed that fine-looking overcoat, and now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description, which suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue. So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Oh, I already know how to do that. I heard it during the thing. There it is. If it belonged to him, it would have fit better. Oh, the seam on the shoulder there is coming apart. Look! So it is. Do you know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. It sounded a bit like a tiny growl. But now I think it was probably the sound of this seam ripping open. If you look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. The sleeves are stretched to bursting, and he wouldn't have a hope of fastening it at the front. If he were to run around in it, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart. That I'd like to see. Sorry? But how can we make Mr. Benedict run around? She's really giving this some thought. Anyway, hold on. It belonged to his dad before him. That would be believable if he had said his name was like Eggert Garrison. Like, as long as it ended in a G. But I don't know why he picked Benedict, but...
Take that!
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so baldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this picnic. This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windybank. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't like screaming. Unless I get really angry, I guess. There are some games that make me do that, but this isn't one of them. Anyway, but what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. Abscond with a redeemed item. Next topic, the great crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You
just that I, a gentleman, designed a wheeze to fill some tawdry article of pawnage? Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place? How could I possibly have known the relevant details? N'est-ce pas? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. To be honest, now that I think about Ryunosuke and Sholmes going back and forth, it gives me an idea for a good way to introduce Leighton and Catriel's dynamic. Have something like this. Catriel's going all out in accusations and speculations, while Leighton analyzes what she said and then teaches her how to... That would be a better idea. Like, if they ever did make the game where they transition from Leighton into Catriel. Like, doing this kind of thing. Not a bad idea, buddy. The direction of the deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers. Which is a pity, because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yes, Professor. If you didn't know that word, Mr. Windenbank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or, looking at it another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Windenbank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? Dun 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 dun. I like the music, sorry. It's just the... This? The notelet? Look at this, Mr. Zato. Ah, it appears to be a memo that Mr. Windenbank has scribbled to himself. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, Professor. Mr. Windenbank must make a note of the watchwords his customers give him right before their eyes. And in alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear, I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see? Well...
Take that!
Could only be that one, right? The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he has to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in this shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windenbank. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is his common practice, you observed him writing the word Professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had a very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. Yep, it would feel more suited and actually fit the theme of Catriel trying to impress her dad, but having no clue where to start, while Leighton teaches her the way. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. 100%. It would have given it the whole series a lot more continuity, that's for sure. The articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets, which according to Mr. Windybake isn't even worth a penny, and yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo. Could we? Really? We'd better have a thorough look through all the evidence we've collected so far.
Take that!
The music box disc that said to Mick Building. You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads, for Mr. McGilded. Oh, just McGilded. Oh. Ah, Mr. Magnus McGilded. The unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, though his loan-mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature. In fact, he was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you've squeezed yourself into. Oh. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Egg Benedict. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. Yeah, not screaming. To acquire an item deposited by Mr. McGilded. And we've deduced. Well, well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Miss Usato. Well, according to what Mr. Windybake told us earlier, today was the final day on which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited.
Well, today is 15th April, so 2 months ago today, he was already dead.
It would have been 15th February, sir, that's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 10:30 p.m., I see.
What? But that suggests... Yes, 15th February. It's precisely the day on which the omnibus murder took place. Oh, he wasn't dead yet. It was when the murder happened. Right. And 10:30 in the evening is precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding. Suggestive is not the word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose, however. I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. Ugh, what do I do? Before I decide this, yep, it would feel more suited and actually fit the theme Catriel. Oh, no, I read that. Whenever I discuss Catriel's game with people, they tend to think I hate Catriel, which I don't. I just wish she was better. She has potential, but they did nothing with her. Well, other than making her a Mary Sue. I don't get that reference with the Mary Sue, but it is good to clarify to people sometimes that you don't hate her. You just think she's an undervalued character, undeveloped. Or underdeveloped, I guess. Make any outlandish claims you wish, but I have a gun! It's exactly what happened here. I'm gonna save, just in case I get shot and die and it's game over. Which I don't think would happen in a Phoenix Wright game, well, an Ace Attorney game. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Absolutely not. There are some things a man must protect at all costs. This may well be one of those things. Then again, it may not. There's like 3 of us, and Sholmes is a martial artist. Where's the Susato takedown? Where's the martial artistry?
Hold it!
Haha, nice. Mr. Windibank.
This is my shop. I cannot allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I should have to take my own life.
Mr. Windibank, no! Alright, that's enough. Inspector Gregson. Inspector. That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, eh?
Oh, praise be, you're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my very own establishment.
It would seem you have the upper hand. Right, you lot have got some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy. Petty? Mr. Windibank very nearly met with his end. Yeah, by his own gun, as far as I can tell.
Oh dear.
And the whole of Britain could meet with its end if I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is the case, Inspector? Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector. Ah! He's getting away! Get after him, lads! Whistle the beat officer, too! Sir! Wow, did you really just let that dude spin away from you? There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently. So we've fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble.
Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed.
Now then, Mr. Permanently in Mourning. Oh, yes? I'll be taking that whatever it is at McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is, mine. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now. Wait a minute. The initials on the cane were AG. Oh. No, I'm thinking something else. McGilded's last name starts with an M. For some reason, I thought it was Gilded. That was my brain farting. Mary Sue, Gary Sue is a term writers use to describe characters that are perfect, flawless angels that can do anything in the universe just bends to their will. Really? Okay. I wasn't aware of that, but that's a little tidbit. Store that away. Although I can't believe Gary Sue is the opposite one. But anything belonging to McGild has to be taken as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. And so we handed Mr. McGilded's disc over to Inspector Gregson, and were summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street. Okay, cool. Got it. So on the same night that McGilded was accused of murdering that guy, he also deposited the coat at the pawn shop at the exact same time. Interesting. This case just keeps getting more interestinger and interestinger. 15th April, Baker Street. See, that's why I hate grown-ups. All they do is feed you a pack of lies and take stuff away from you. Oh really, Miss Lestrade? Tell me, is that overcoat keeping you warm? What? Oh my, surely you were given that. Yeah, the D let me keep it, after I looked daggers at him for long enough. He went through the pockets and then said, go on then, have it, before telling me to scarp her. Always pays off giving people a look like you ate them. Can't help feeling that it's going to get you into serious trouble one day. What I really wanted was that nice shiny disc mind. The music box disc? Mr. Windybig said it was practically worthless. I think I'm gonna go and have another bash, give him a long, hard stare. I think not, Miss Lestrade. We shan't enter Windybanks again today. Why not? That's not fair. Can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now, and taking a statement from Mr. Windybig. But that disc's mine. I had the ticket for this coat, and it was in this coat's pocket. And there should be something else and all. That's what the Rotten Cove said, ain't it? Yes, he did mention something about another article, didn't he? I thought he mentioned 2 discs. Well, then that's mine too, whatever it is. Now she's really pushing her luck. It's a term born from bad Star Trek fanfiction. Oh. It's the type of character that can solve any problem in a blink of an eye, is loved by everybody and anybody just because they exist, can do no wrong, has no flaws, can master anything in mere minutes. Yeah, I think, I'm not saying I've heard that before, but I definitely recognize that, you know, it's very bad writing when you have a character that's perfect in every single fucking way, so. But when you said bad Star Trek fanfiction, it just reminded me of the episode of Futurama where the Star Trek crew gets captured by that alien gas, whatever. So funny. Such a good episode. Ooh, Gina has coin skills. Yes, she does. I actually tried to get better at that. I could barely do it, but eh. Anyway. Miss Lestrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day. Yeah, and it's all your fault, Sholmes. So what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening? Eh? Iris would be delighted to cook, I'm sure, and I might entertain you with a modest violin recital. No, Tom. Oh. Why would I come round your place, eh? Have you lost your head or something? Oh dear, she's gone. Gina and Nick would have long coin trick show-offs. Wait. Are you talking about Phoenix, right? When does he have a coin trick? I can't remember that one. Having reviled on me quite unnecessarily, I might add. I can't help wondering if perhaps she might turn up anyway. Interesting. Once she's had a chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll decide to come. Very well, then. I'll inform Iris to set a place for our potential guests at the dinner table this evening. And one more thing. I should be glad of your company later, too. Sorry? I believe I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you. Oh, how exciting! What is it? You shall have to wait and see, Miss Usato. Until later, then. Nope, Nicole, she's a character of mine. Nicole's nickname is Nick. Ah, okay. That makes more sense. I'm assuming you're talking a character from, the turnabout you were talking about. Turnabout Angel Scream? I recall. Yeah, I should have specified before because you'd think it's Phoenix. Yeah, by default, Nick is kind of Phoenix whenever you're talking about Ace Attorney. Alright, where are we going? Sholmes is sweet, right? Well, we were asked earlier to show our faces here, so... Did this place just get fancier, or did I never look to the right? 15th April, 3:46 p.m. Sholmes' suite. Ah, Susie and Runo, come in, come in. Good afternoon, Iris. Thank you so much for breakfast this morning. Oh, don't mention it. Goodness, look at the time already. Busy as always? I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening. Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you? Oh yes! After all, we have special guests joining us. Guess who it is? Go on. You'll never guess. Those little eyes of hers shining. Oh dear, it is awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it? It's Ginny! Ginny? Isn't that exciting? Oh, what a surprise! Yes, that's wonderful news. Wow, Iris seems overjoyed at the idea. I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional. Oh yes, that does sound like fun. I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. Naruhodo? By the way, Iris, what's Mr. Sholmes up to? Oh my god. He's just over there sitting. Nope, Nicole's something else entirely. Interesting, okay. An original character. Those are always fun to play with in your head. Like, you can put them in any story, give them any background. It's pretty nice. As long as you don't, like we discussed, make them the invincible character. That's just annoying. Hurley? Oh, he's been like that ever since he got back. Hello, Mr. Sholmes? I beg that you won't speak to me. Sorry? I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here. I don't know how to respond to that. I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everything. Yes, I see. Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes, Hurley does. Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, don't they? Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are. What's the matter, Runo? You have ever such a funny look on your face. Well, Iris Wilson and the guy in the first trial was Dr. Wilson, so I assume there's some relation there, but we'll see. Oh, no, it's nothing. I know what it is. Why does this girl live here with Mr. Sholmes, you're wondering? Am I right? How? How did you... Oh, Runo, I can read you like a book. Look, this girl is dangerous. Don't worry, you can ask me anything. I won't mind. I guess we'll just chat. She's the White Hair Ranger. Ah, okay. It's from one of your Power Ranger stories. Okay, that's cool. Iris in the Japanese version is Iris Watson. Well, then I would assume that the murder victim in the first trial in that version would be Dr. Watson. So, I'm just saying I'm picking up a relation between the guy who was killed first and this chick. Anyway, Ginny. Tell me about Ginny. So by Ginny, you mean Miss Lestrade, the young woman from the McGilda case 2 months ago, right? Yes, who also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Although after that trial I invited her back here and we had dinner together. And now we're the best of friends. Oh, what a lovely tale. Yes, now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can. Oh. And I chase after her down the back alleys. Interesting idea of friendship. And then I let her have the latest color of smoke grenade I've developed. Oh. There are so many beautiful colors in the world. Ginny wants me to make a whole rainbow. Wait, what? That's fishy. That's sketchy as shit. I suppose this means you've let Miss Lestrade keep the smoke grenade launcher, have you? Yes, that's right. I got bored of it anyway. Hurley always reacts the same way when I shoot him with it now. Poor Hurley. Oh, I can't wait for Ginny to arrive. It's been too long since she last came over. I'm so excited. I just hope she does actually come. Yeah, it'd be a bummer for Iris to be sad. Anyway. You don't remember, but I do know Iris is a Watson. Alright, fair enough. They did change a few names here, obviously, like Herlock Sholmes. I'm sure you've been wondering why it is that I live here with Hurley, haven't you? Well, it has crossed my mind. That and where are your real parents? My mummy and daddy aren't with me anymore. Mummy passed away when I was born, and at around the same time my father, well, he had to go to a faraway land because of one of the cases he and Hurley were working on. Yeah, you got it. Yep, right there. He went to Japan with Sherlock. That's why we ran into Sherlock on the way home on the boat. Oh. Wait a minute. Did you say he and Hurley? Yes. Daddy and Hurley were always solving mysterious cases together. Shouldn't mention that before. Gotta shave real quick? Alright, cool. Take your time, buddy. I'll just be here solving murder. Well, there hasn't been a murder yet. Solving puzzles. Mysteries. He wrote them all up in his diaries. That's what's in the metal chest over there. Really? He recorded them all. So, you mean it's true? Mr. Sholmes really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of his most taxing cases? Oh yes, I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it? So Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father? Exactly. Hurley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest. That only made me want to look even more, so I opened it up and found your father's memoirs. Yes, so I asked Hurley, who wrote these? He nearly fell off his chair. But then he told me. That's when I found out that the author of all those accounts was my father. So Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner. Are we figuring it out right now? I feel like we're figuring it out right now. I practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. So, it came as quite a shock when Hurley told me he wasn't really my daddy. I mean, it must have done. I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age. Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh? Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say that his ways have rubbed off on me. There are some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes. Right. Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, actually. I'd always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories. Oh no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he's solved a case, it all but vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he just solved. So the very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. Wait. The carriage case could potentially have happened twice. Like we said back then, because of the, like, in Phoenix Wright 3, they had that one case where, like, they performed the crime twice for the witness. So what if McGilda took advantage of Holmes doing this again to fabricate evidence? It was quite a shock for everyone. You can say that again. You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. There it is. I learned it from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see. That's what prompted me to study and study so that I could earn a doctorate as well. Iris's father went to some distant plane. He was a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson. There we go. Now it's occurring to him. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I only state before the court the name of the victim in this case. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right. Visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. The man who, in the most bizarre of circumstances, lost his life just before we left Japan. Okay, back. I had a neckbeard that was annoying the shit out of me. Hey, it happens, man. I mean, because of COVID, I stay in my house most of the time, so my beard has gotten pretty long, but, you know, you gotta keep that mustache safe so it doesn't go in your mouth. Miss Susato. Yes? Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time? I think that would be for the best. Ah, my dear fellows. How good to see you. Yeah, Mr. Sholmes. Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you? We've been with you for most of the day. Goodness, really? Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unscathed? My violin? Whatever are you talking about, dear madam? Oh, never mind that. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows. Oh, another music box disc. No, not another disc, Miss Susato. This is the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence. Mr. McGilded's disc. Oh my! Then what's it doing here? You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo, I think that though I have an undeniable turn for detection, I may well be even more adept at larceny. Almost made me want to shave with a knife. That must have been pretty bad. I'm getting vaxxed this weekend. Good for you, dude. I'm glad that you are getting to be able to do that. It's always good to take measures to prevent a completely preventable disease. Oh, that would be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Runo could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught. Right. Plus, Susie has such beautiful handwriting. She could write all our menacing crime notifications. Yes, I'd be delighted. Wow, I suggest something criminal, and you give me stare daggers. She suggests it, and you're just all in, but I guess you can't really disappoint a 10-year-old now, can you? I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, I think. Alright, why do you have it? I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. I'll be taking that, whatever it is at McGilded's, down to the yard. Thank you very much. Oh, and that's McGilded's caramel. No, it's Sholmes' caramel. I remember seeing the fucking wrapper, and I think it said Sholmes on it. Saying goodbye to my mask the week after. Fair enough, dude, fair enough. Just, if you do happen to come down with it, it won't be deadly to you anymore, but you don't want to spread it, that's for sure. So hand it over. Oh yes, of course. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, you did, but I still don't understand. It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars, like this. That's amazing. The disc and all the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant to melting, the result of a precisely controlled solution. How extraordinary! Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves very useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press and its unique form is duplicated. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never without high sucrose nourishment. Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I was most curious to know what manner of music would issue from the disc when played. I'm curious too. Couldn't have been music though. I think it's like an actual message, maybe. Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes, what music does the disc play? Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea? None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not. Goodness, you don't know, Runo? Inside a music box, there's a special metal piece called a comb. That's what produces the sound. Small protuberances pluck the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. The first music boxes to be invented used a rotating cylinder with protuberances on it. But over time, a new type of player was produced, which uses discs such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe. Why, exactly? Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result. It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music even when no performer is present. But it is the very success of the invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. And we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. Ah, I see, so that's why. Naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. Man, I was really hoping it was like a recorded message of type, you know? Actually, no, not illegal. I suppose it... I don't know. I'm not an expert on law. I'm not even going to bother touching that one. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe. Every single one? That's Hurley for you, always taking things too far. But my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. Surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes, that is certainly true. In the worst case, I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? That seems like a mean thing to do. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows, still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred of evidence remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in the trial, the newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case. The murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed. Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Ginny will be here before long. Thank you, Iris. Oh, well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes, you may be right. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windibank said before. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom, where his words I believe. So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was. Oh yes, the idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Windibank's storeroom, gathering dust. My dear madam, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault. What about your Stradivarius, Hurley? Was that safe and secure? Well, there may be the occasional mix-up, caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now. Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley? Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. How did she know the title? How did she know the title? Is that what they're surprised about? Ah! What's going on here? Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room? Susie, what did you just say? You said The Hound of the Baskervilles. But how could you know the full title? Well, that's... Uh-oh. Was that in the telegram she received this morning? That's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course. Yeah, good try. But Runo, The Hound of the Baskervilles, has never been published. What? When I showed Hurley the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. That's why he said that he'd keep it safe. Until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see. So that's why the manuscript is at Windibank's. And yet, how could Susie here know its title? Well, Hurley, what's going on? Ah! What is it, Mr. Sholmes? It would appear our guest has arrived. Miss Lestrade. As far as I'm aware, making molds of things ain't illegal as long as it's not used for breaking and entering. If it's used for self-use or key molding as a business, it's not illegal. Well, I think that's what Naruhodo was implying, is if you mold someone's key just so you can get to their house without their permission, kind of illegal. But again, not an expert. Moving on. This was a bad idea. I knew I weren't welcome. I'm going. No, wait, Miss Lestrade. We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris? Wow. I don't think she can get over the hound. Oh, there she goes. Oh yes, just wait there, Ginny. We'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie. Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Miss Lestrade. Please, make yourself at home. Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. What say you to some Mendelssohn? I won't take no for an answer. I don't think it would apply to something as a music box disc. No, I don't think it would either. But I think he was mostly referring to the fact that he said he could mold someone's key and get in their house. Meddlesome it is, then. Oh, it's Wagahai. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome, and Gina, as we came to call her, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves, well into the night. '15th of April, 9:34 p.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it? Oh yes, Iris's cooking was truly divine. I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes' violin even now. Best of all, I bet I could steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court. Naruhodo-san, could I consult with you about something, I wonder? What's the matter, Susato-san? It's about the telegram I received. Ah, the one that arrived first thing this morning, I suppose. I've been summoned. What? Summoned? What do you mean? The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Strongheart has asked to see me. The Lord Chief Justice? When? Tomorrow morning. What? Then we have to start preparing at once. Oh, no, that won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone. Alone? What on earth for? I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow. What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. I've been thinking about a funny line from an Ace Attorney video I've watched a while ago. No, goodbye sports car. Phoenix crying over not getting paid any usable money. Oh man, was it Phoenix Wright dubbed or something? Oh, who could that be, I wonder? Good evening, friends! Ah, Iris, hello again. And Gina's here. Good to see you too. And Gina too. Yes, Ginny's going to stay with us tonight. She's going to sleep in with me. Isn't that right, Ginny? Well, yeah. How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea. You know, I've learned so much today. Oh? What in particular? All those things Ginny showed us. Wasn't it wonderful? Ah, you mean all those pickpocketing techniques. We had fun trying them out on each other, didn't we? I think I've awakened a natural talent. I could earn a living from it. You might be getting ahead of yourself a little there. So what brings you up to our humble quarters at this late hour? Well, you see, I came to return this. Wait, what? That's mine! Oh my, however did you... I told you, didn't I? I have a natural talent for it. Oh yes, I forgot. Iris literally is a child genius. So anyway, here, you can have it back. Not that I really understand why you wear it, though. Ah, thank you. Alright then, good night. Yes, good night. Oh, she still wants to know. So this is your office, is it? What do you think, Ginny? I think I wouldn't fancy me chances with a lawyer what lives in a place like this. Yes, me too. Wow, you don't have to say it so happily. It seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about. I suppose she probably wants to talk about the manuscript. Yeah. Yes, I suppose she probably does. Nope, Ace Attorney X MLP Turnabout Thunderbolt. Oh. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I was never really into MLP. But, to each their own. I don't really judge. Converse the manuscript. Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you? Aren't you going to tell me? I'm so sorry. I need a little more time. Please. Alright, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward. Oh no, not at all, Iris. Not at all. I don't know what all this is about, really, but it's a story you made up. Is it, Iris? This mantle script, or whatever you call it? It's not exactly a story that I made up. It's something I read in Daddy's diaries. Daddy's? That's right. I don't suppose I've mentioned it to you before, Ginny, but my daddy was Hurley's assistant once, his partner. Huh? They solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together. Is that right, mister? Apparently so. I was as surprised as you are, though. And Daddy wrote all the details of every single case down, you see, in his diaries. So I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened. So, where's your old man now, then? He had to go away on urgent business to a faraway land, and he'll be gone a very long time. So, I've never really met him. Ouch. Wait. If the mom died when she was young, but she still had her dad to live with, okay, I hope they explain that one, because I'm going to need a timeline on this. I was at one point, but to be honest, this animation is really good, the plot is very well paced, and it also inspired me to write my own trial. Well, that's good. I'm glad that there's quality writing going on out there. Both in the one you mentioned and that you yourself are going to... Is it the one that you told me about? With the art director or the creative director? Come to think of it, I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her. Iris, this Hound of the Baskervilles story. I take it that it's another tale inspired by your father's accounts? That's right, I thought it was fascinating. But it's different somehow from the other cases I made. Oh? How? I don't really know, but it must be special in some way. Because after I'd written it, and I showed the manuscript to Hurley, it turned as white as a sheet. It was the first time I've ever seen him like that. It pains me to have to say this after you've toiled over it for so long, Iris, but this story must not be published at this time, under any circumstances. But why not? It's one of my best works. I'm not at liberty to say, not now, so please do not ask me. Alright then, I won't. But I do solemnly swear that I will explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right. That's how the manuscript came to be with Mr. Windibank, is it? Yes. Hurley said it had to be somewhere very safe. That really gets my goat, that does. He's treating you like a child. It's mean, that's what it is, keeping secrets like that. sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean. Eh? If he said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it, I'm sure there must have been a very good reason. I think so too. You lot are too trusting for your own good. But he can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to Iris. I bet my life on it. What? Hurley's lying to me? Oh, and Iris said that she was good at spotting lies in people. Alright, back. Examine. M. There we go. We want to talk to her. Yeah, Angel Scream, Thunderbolts, Barmore. Iris is a sweetheart. I love seeing her in true interact. She is cute, yes, and I'm super curious what her story is. So I'm hoping I find out more in this chapter, which I'm sure I will. I've realized that I don't know anything about your parents, Gina. I ain't got any, have I? Never did have. Oh. Look, the East End's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us from the minute we're born, not even our mums. But we all stick together. The older ones look after the little ones and make sure they get by. So that's why you're a pickpocket. Nah, diving's my life. I love it. I get a kick out of it every time I lift some pompous idiot's purse. And that's how we all afford to eat. I'm like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's how I see it. Oh, Gina. I do think about it sometimes. What it'd be like to have parents, I mean. I always thought it'd make everything alright. But having listened to what Iris just said, it sounds like having parents ain't always easy either. Oh. I mean, if you know you never had them, you don't feel like you're always wanting to meet them. It's true. I do want to see Daddy so much. Oh, Iris. Alright, what's this lie? Gina, what did you mean when you said that you know Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris? Well, he reckons he popped that mantle script or whatever, right? Come on, that's obviously a load of rubbish. Oh my, why would you think that, Gina? It's simple. If that story was really an old Windibank storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. But Hurley would never do something like that. I'm sure of it. Ha! Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Bare-faced liars, the lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. Wow. Negative Gina over there. Oh, so I missed the second part of your comment. Yeah, I love seeing her and Trucy interacting. Yeah, they'd be cute to see together. They're both very fun and innocent and bubbly. I'm telling you, that mantle script ain't at Windibank's. You'd soon see it if you had a look. Even if you think you can trust him, I don't. That Sholmes is a liar like the rest of them. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See? Oh, but I don't mean that I think he sold it. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt it. Don't be too hard on yourself, Iris. Oh my goodness, look at the time. Come along, Jenny, we should go back downstairs. Yeah, alright. And please, don't mention any of this to Hurley, will you? No, of course not. Good night then, Iris. Good night, Gina. You must let me make breakfast for you tomorrow morning. I insist. Oh, yes, please. I can't wait, Susie. Good night, then. Iris. It sure is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult, but deep down, she's still just a child. Well, I think it's time that I turned in for the night too, Naruhodo-san. Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father, but also the name of the murdered visiting professor at Yume University. Can't be a mere coincidence. There's something deeper going on. Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo. The voice. That's Mr. Sholmes. What's going on? It's the middle of the night. This is Miss Lestrade. She's gone. Gina? She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty. Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home, no? I think not. From speaking to her before, she retired. I received the distinct impression that she was looking forward to breakfasting with Miss Susato. Now, I don't believe the girl has gone home, but I've been waiting for over an hour now. Over an hour? Oh. If you'll indulge me. Look out of the window, my dear fellow. What's this about? And there's a candlelight. Yep. She went to go find the manuscript for Iris. Gina and Nicole wouldn't get along very well. And why is that? Luke and Iris would get along greatly, IMO. I need to know more of these personalities in order to understand these comparisons, but I'm just going to go ahead and take your word for it right now. But yes, I remember when you told me about Luke being mean to Maya. Oh, Luke and Iris would get along greatly. Oh, would they? Even though Luke can be a dick. Well, I kind of exaggerated. Luke did have a valid reason to be angry, but still, it wasn't good. No, being mean to Maya usually isn't good in my book. Wait a minute. Why is there a light on at this time of night? That's Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery. Mr. Windibank's? Oh no. It's simple. If that story was really an old Windibank storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. Could Gina have gone? It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Oh, no, not really. Well, anyway, we must investigate. At once. Miss Susato? April, 1:14 a.m., Baker Street. The door to Windibank's. Oh, the door to Windibank's, it's open. And the lamp is burning. It must be Gina, mustn't it? Let us hope it's nothing more than sinister. What? Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something is afoot inside. There's no one here. Oh yes, there is. Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! What the? Has Sholmes been shot? Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. But after them, go! Right. Blast, I've lost them. Hello, what have we here? Oh, it's a Bobby. The alarm was just raised from this pawnbroker, sir. Would you know something about that? Officer, come with me. It's my friend, Mr. Sholmes. He's been shot. Shot? With the policeman close behind me, I ran back to Windibank's.
Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Narado,
How bad is it? Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the
Where'd he get
storeroom.
shot? Not even bleeding.
Hurry! It's Gina!
So whoever those two were shot Sholmes, murdered Windibanks, and was trying to frame Gina for it. And it was two people. It was like tall and a short. It looked like McGill did and whatever the Benedict dude was, Benedict Cumberbatch. I love Benedict Cumberbatch. He's a great actor. I can't talk more without spoiling a major trial, but Luke did have a valid reason to be pissed off, but not valid enough to try and get Maya killed. Oh, fuck, I gave away a spoiler. Yeah, try not to do that. I would appreciate a little more caution, but honestly, who hasn't tried to kill Maya at this point? She's been on trial so many fucking times. No, I already saved it. I think I already saved it. I'm not totally sure.
Bang!
That's great. I'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. After them, go! Behind that door. Behind that door, in the storeroom. Hurry! It's Gina? From that moment, Windibank's pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn before I was allowed back to my lodgings at 221B. April 621. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Oh, Iris. Telegram came, but all it said was, wait at home. Oh, yes, we asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back. When I woke up, I was all alone. Hurley and Ginny were gone, everyone was gone. What happened, Runo? Poor Iris, she's trembling. She's obviously trying very hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know. Something awful has happened, hasn't it? Yeah, Maya's been on trial multiple times and this game is no different, but I gave away a spoiler I shouldn't have. Hey, the more you bring attention to it, the more it's going to come back. Just let it die, and, you know, again, Maya's been kidnapped and attempted murder already, so it's not that far-fetched. Yes, I'm afraid so. Alright, let's chat. Events at Windibanks. Sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Windibank is dead. He was shot. We discovered it in the early hours of the morning. Oh, yes, I had a feeling. You did? Well, I saw all of those police carriages pulling up outside his shop, so I knew something must have happened there. When we entered Windibanks in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of 2 thugs. They ran out onto the street and I chased after them, but they got away. So, it was one of them who shot old Mr. Windibank, I suppose? I don't know, but that's not what the police believe at the moment. Oh, why not? They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina. Ginny? But why? Well, the thing is... No, Ginny wouldn't do something like that.
I know. None of us think she did it. Then why have they arrested her? I'm sorry, there was nothing I could do. For some reason, the fact that Mr. What's-His-Face's gun only has one bullet loaded feels like it's going to be important, but I guess we're going to try to remember that in my brain, because I need to remember everything. Anyway, Luke's not a bad kid at heart. He's a good kid. He's not much older than Iris. At most, he's around maybe 2 or 3 years older. So, like 12 or 13. That's not too bad. It's a good age to learn, that's for sure. So where's Hurley, then? Is he still there investigating the scene? He really ought to have some breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals. Yeah, bad news number 2. I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news about Mr. Sholmes. He was taken to hospital this morning. What? Well, when we entered Windybanks, a gun was fired and he took a bullet. But Hurley was shot? No. It's all right. His life isn't in danger. Really? Are you sure? Where is he? Which hospital? He's at St. Sinners. They're tending to him there. I must see him at once. I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't. Why not? That's not fair. I'm a family member. I should be allowed. No, I mean, nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see. To operate? Oh, poor Hurley. It was the 2 thugs who were in Mr. Windybank's shop. They shot Mr. Sholmes when we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze. After them, go! After that, I ran out into the street, but, well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I let them get away. I think that's a very good thing. Sorry? Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, you might have been shot as well, Bruno. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that. Oh, Iris. Alright, time to talk about Susato then. Layton is around early 40s and late 50s depending on the game. Oh. Late 40s, okay. It's not a bad age, especially considering how they draw him. He looks to have aged well. Not a lot of wrinkles and crow's feet. Where's Susie, Bruno? She's still at the police station. Oh, why? I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while. Why aren't you there, then? Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. And Miss Susato stayed behind at the scene to tend to Mr. Sholmes, so they didn't get started until later. Ah, I see. Besides, one of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to me leaving early. You should have let me know and I would have come to the station. I don't understand why they arrested Ginny. It's not fair. What about the 2 thugs that were at the scene? Why aren't they the prime suspects? After all, they shot Hurley dead, didn't they? No. I mean, Mr. Sholmes isn't dead, Iris. Ah, this is all so horrible. The thing is, Mr. Windybank was found on the floor in the storeroom where he keeps all the deposited articles. And the storeroom door was locked from the inside. I see. But he wasn't alone in there. Gina was found next to him on the floor as well. Oh no. And according to the detectives who investigated afterwards... Don't tell me. There was no one else in the room? Yes, exactly. How did you know? The only explanation. Yes, the only explanation indeed. What do you mean by that, Bruno? Well, what can I say? Damned if I agree, damned if I don't. I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I can do at the moment. But I can at least try to find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on. I want to go too. Take me with you, Runa. I can't stand just sitting around here waiting. I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child to the scene of a murder. But I don't want to leave her all alone here either. Alright then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me? Oh yes, I'd love to. Gina's at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed. And don't forget we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation. Ah, I can see you're ready for action. I imagine Iris would appreciate going to the hospital sooner rather than later. Well, said he wasn't taking any visitors at the moment, so I'm not going to go ahead and go there first. We do need to go check on Gina, though. Around the time of Catriel's game, he should be around 60-something. Do they ever show a picture of him? I'm curious to see if they aged him at all. A new location's been added. Nice. You mean 2 more? I'm gonna go check on Gina first. "16th April, local prison, cell 13. My lucky number. Hello, Gina. They let you keep that? Oh, you still have the grenade launcher Hurley and I made. I wish you wouldn't point it at me all the time, though. What are you here for? Ginny? I have a feeling it's because of us that you ended up in trouble. So we were thinking that we might be able to help you. Well, you can't. Sorry? You heard. Get lost. Don't be like that, Ginny. I know you didn't do it. You'd never shoot someone. I just know you would. You think you know me? Pull the other one. Oh. You ain't got the first idea about the likes of me. I'm a thief. I pinch people's purses when they're walking down the street. That's how I get by. If I saw me chance, I'd sneak into a pawn shop any day of the week. Just to see what I could lay me hands on. Get it? That's the kind of person I am. But Ginny, I'll be in court tomorrow, they said. Some cove came by before and said he'd be a lawyer for me or the like. Said it was my right or something. But I told him to get stuffed. I don't need no lawyer. I don't need no one. She couldn't be staring at me any more obviously if she tried. Not that you remember, and why does she have a gun while being held? That was my question. I'm surprised they let her keep it. That would have been my first question to her. Why are you being like this, Ginny? She knows something in that back room. I don't understand, Gina. Why did you send the public defender away? You wanted me to sign some papers, representation papers or something like that. It's all going to be rigged anyway, the whole trial. They'll pin it on me because I'm a kid. That's what grown-ups always do. Why do you think that? Because that's how it's always been for me growing up in the back slums. My whole life. If you do what the grown-ups tell you, it'll get your mates dragged off by the coppers, or worse. I've had it happen to me before and all. Been sold out and nearly squat. Nearly snaffled on the back of it. You can't trust no one, that's the point. As soon as you do, you're gone to grass. Dead. Gina, listen. If you like, in tomorrow's trial, I could forget it. Ginny, don't you trust Runo? Nah, I don't. Look, I'll ask you nicely. Just leave me alone. That wasn't very nice, I'm gonna be honest. Will you tell us what happened, Gina? Last night at the pawnbroker's? There's nothing to tell. I figured he'd pay me, so I broke into the place and started going through the storeroom. The old bloke walked in on me, and you know the rest. But why, Ginny? Why would you do that? Ain't it obvious? The place is full of stuff I could sell for a shilling or two. Diving ain't easy, you know. It's a lot of work, and half the time you don't even get nothing. Is that really why you broke into the place? What? Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else? Oh, give it a rest. What'd be the point anyway, eh? Nothing I could say would make a blind bit of difference. Please tell us, Ginny. We'll believe you, whatever it is. Believe me, don't be daft. You can't believe nothing. Everyone lies all the time. And you know what? When it comes to liars, I'm the biggest of the lot. I've told some unforgivable lies, I have. What do you mean by that? What unforgivable lies? Come on, spill the beans, Blondie. Sorry, yeah, that's why Nicole wouldn't like Gina very much, and Nicole was Yakuza at one point. Nicole's a thief with honor and doesn't fight if she doesn't need. But Gina's doing this to feed people. Like, that's how she survives, to get by. I'm not saying it's honorable exactly, but, you know, it's like she said, she's Robin Hood. She steals from people to give to the poor kids. I don't know. I mean, that's how I saw it anyway. What did you mean before, Gina, when you said you were the biggest liar of the lot? Why don't you tell us what these unforgivable lies you've told are? Maybe we can help. Sorry. We're out of time. They're gonna want to question me now. Jenny, please. Oh, yeah. I wanted to give you this. Something to remember me by. A photographic print of a really adorable cat. I found it in one of the pockets of this coat. Ain't no point in me having it. Wait, wasn't that on the desk of the pawnbroker shop? Why would it be in a pocket of her coat? I meant, like, Gina's clearly biting people she doesn't need to. Gina had a honorable side, but she's all bite, no bark. You mean, not trusting people and stuff? Like being really... What's the word I'm looking for? Aggressive? No. Butting heads? That's another word for butting heads, I guess. I don't know. I can't remember the word I'm exactly looking for. Combative? Something like that. I wonder what a little photograph like that was doing in a pocket of that overcoat. Actually, I want to look at it. Oh, she didn't give it to me yet. Anyway, don't bother coming again. Bye. Oh, Ginny. There it is, the white cat photograph. I want to look at it. I want to look at it. Oh. That's what I wanted to see. Alright, let's see. Look on the back of this print here. There's something written on it. 13th February, 9 p.m. Article deposited 1 small box. Loan amount paid 10 shillings. Redemption deadline 13th April, 9 p.m. So this photographic print is a redemption ticket? 13th February, that could be significant. 2 days before the murder on the omnibus, wasn't it? It absolutely was. A small box, that doesn't tell us much about it, does it? Bruno, if Mr. McGill had still had the ticket, then presumably he never redeemed the article. So do you think the box might still be present somewhere in the shop? Ah, yes. If it's something McGill had deposited, we need to investigate. Oh, because the photograph was in the coat. That's why they think it's his. Okay. It's a kitty! I want to investigate it. This is an adorable little cat. I think it looks a little like Wagahai. I always thought that cats like to curl up inside under the heated kotatsu blanket when it snowed. Maybe British cats are different. Well, that's it. Okay. Alright, let's see. I guess she's not going to want to talk to us right now, so for now, we'll go to the hospital. Should be at a surgery now, right? 16th April, St. Sinners Hospital, Ward 3. Pretty much too aggressive, but I can get why. It's not much different than Nicole, despite her being from a privileged background. Just not trusting people in general, then? Because I can understand that. Hurley! Oh. He's not here. No, that's strange. The nurse definitely said he was in the bed by the window, didn't she? Oh, he's on the fucking ceiling, isn't he, or something? Oh, I know what's probably happened. Hurley was being a big baby, and the bullet wound wasn't that bad after all, so he's been sent home. I'm not so sure about that. Baby or not, there's no question that it was a fairly serious injury that Mr. Shomp suffered. Oh. Hello, hello. What have we here? Oh, is that the Bobby? This ward is off limits. No visiting. So what are you doing in here, eh? Well, I'll have you know, we're Hurley's next of kin. Eh? Oh. Well, begging your pardon then, ma'am. Sir. A little lady and a curious Eastern gentleman. The great mystery solvers as a mysterious family, eh? If that's how you see us? Sure. Where is he, Constable? Where's Hurley? I believe he is currently in the operating theater, ma'am, undergoing an extensive operation. Extensive? It has been several hours since he went in. Oh dear. Is he going to be alright? Well, it doesn't appear to be working, you see. The anesthetic, that is. Oh! I have heard a report that the gentleman claims he may have had a little too much to drink last night. Coffee, that is. Anyway, I think it would be fair to assume that he won't be back here for several hours yet. I see. Thank you, Constable. Perhaps we should leave and come back later. Oh, poor Hurley. Yeah, I figured that'd be the case. Alright. To the brokery. So he did tear the thing, because it says April 16th. And there's blood on it? Okay. I'm just trying to look what else might be out of place. 16th April, Windibank's Pawnbrokery. Wow, lots of them. Lots of them. This is where it happened then? Last night? That's right, the two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place looking for valuables. I don't think that's true. Look at this place. Nothing's really been touched. But, apart from the policeman in here, you wouldn't know anything had happened. There's no sign of a disturbance. No, you're right about that, actually. In fact, if anyone, it's the police who seem to be the ones doing the ransacking. I know what you mean. They're like a gang of organized criminals all dressed in black. Oi! I heard that. Hey, it's Gregson! Oh, Inspector. Good morning. I suppose I ought to thank you for your vigilance last night. We got to the scene before it was disturbed, at least. Shame you let the two rogues get away, mind. Yes, I'm sorry about that. I thought you'd assigned extra men to the beat around here, Grigsy. Now look what's happened. Hurley's been injured because there weren't enough police on duty. Your ladyship. No one told me you were coming. I expect you to take full responsibility for what happened to Hurley and see he has the very best medical care. Of course, your ladyship. The very best doctors in the capital are attending to him as we speak. I don't think it's Bruno's fault that the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police's job. Absolutely, your ladyship. As you say, ma'am, as you say. Why is he... Okay, you know what? Questions I don't need to dig into. I'm sure they're going to tell me in a second. Nicole's parents were both big shots in the army, but Nicole chose a life of wicked crime, though Nicole did pay for her crimes and served her time. Ah, okay. As opposed to Gina, who just... Born an orphan, lived an orphan, grew up an orphan. That's all she knows. Gent in black is totally blameless. Everyone's in agreement about that. Would you believe it? He's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about a personality change. Oh wait, where are me manners? Are you thirsty, your ladyship? Perhaps you'd like some juice. Some nice, refreshing fruit juice. Wow, what the fuck is... Okay. Oh, why? Are you thirsty, Grixie? I have some of my special herbal tea with me, if you'd like some. Ah, lovely. So very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. I don't even recognize him like this. Alright, well, give me the deets. So how's the investigation going, Inspector? Nothing to it, really. Very simple case, this. There's some very definitive evidence. We're just about to charge that driver we arrested last night, in fact. Oh, charge that diver. Whoops. Gina? You're gonna charge her. That's right. Should be able to bring her before the judge at the Bailey tomorrow. Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me. Your ladyship, as much as I wish I could oblige you, I'm afraid... Ah, I see. You've already captured the pair of thugs who broke in here last night, have you? What the? And you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you? How could you... How could you possibly know that? I had a feeling, that's all. Remind me never to try to keep a secret from Iris. Bolt did have everything in a silver platter, but she's decided on her 16s to flee from home and pursue something else. She doesn't really disagree with her family's views or anything, but adventurous young spirit. Eh, that's all teenagers, ain't it? I used to sneak out of my house in high school all the time. It was so much fun. So you've arrested the two men who shot Mr. Sholmes, have you? Well, yes. They were rounded up pretty quickly by the lads on the beat. And Miss Lestrade is being held at the prison? She should be. That's assuming she hasn't lifted the key from the jailer, of course. Alright. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition? Sorry, I'm not at liberty to divulge that information. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential. Well, I know he's being operated on at St. Sinners. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know. I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's the hospital's policy. No visiting at all. Oh. The bullet must have hit an artery in his midriff. He's lost a fair bit of blood. Oh no. It didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so. But a hemorrhage like that is enough to make even the one and only Sholmes pipe down. Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know. Well, anyway, he's having emergency surgery right now. They've got to stop that bleeding. But he will be alright, won't he? They'll be able to make him better? Of course, your ladyship. He'll be as right as rain before you know it. Really? How do you know? How do I know? Because, of course... Ah, yes, because Mr. Sholmes is such a great detective, that's why. Jesus Christ, he is so friggin' weird when he's in front of Iris. She was around 10 years away from home. She did keep contact with her family and all, though she didn't spend any details around about... Oh, she didn't spread any details around about her crimes. Fair enough, I just... Sounds like an interesting backstory for her character. And you said that one was, I can't remember if you said that was going in your turnabout case or not. Better pray the doctors have a better grasp of what's needed to make someone well. Oh dear. Please don't die, Hurley. I'll report to your ladyship the moment I hear he's out of the operating theater. Her ladyship. Yes, please tell me more about this. Then she spent 4 years locked up. She was meant to serve 15, but was let out due to good behavior. Oh, right, sorry. That's right, she was the white hair. I couldn't help noticing, Inspector. What? Now with it, Sunshine? Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris. Watch the sauce, Sonny. I'm a copper, and we don't go in for favoritism. But he's right. You do treat us differently. It's because of those Adventures of Herlock Sholmes stories. That's why. Oh. I crop up in them, don't I? Inspector Tobias Gregson. Oh, well, yes, because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's. What did you write about the Inspector, Iris? I don't remember, really. It was one of Sholmes' lines. Gregson is the smartest of the Scotland Yarders, is how he put it. Oh, did I write that? And you know what that one line did for me, eh? The very next month, my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell you. Oh, that's amazing. All because everyone at the Yard reads them. They read all the Herlock Sholmes stories. They even set up a fan club for me. Of course, that explains everything. It was around that time that you became such a toady to me. Can you blame me? All it'd take is one bad word from you and Sholmes could change his tune about me. That makes sense. Garnering favoritism, so she keeps writing nice things about Gregson. That's amusing. Gregson? No. The great detective will say he's getting quite overrated these days. Think what would happen to my salary if that came out in print, eh? Maybe you shouldn't yell that around your fellow cops. The whole thing gives me the willies. Can't tell you how many nights of sleep I've lost worrying about it. But that would never happen, Gregsy. Every month when the new Rance magazine comes out, my hands are trembling as I turn the pages. Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves. Ah, lovely. To very much. I really hit the spot, your ladyship. Teetotal. Oh, yeah, there's something I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, what is it? I've got an important message for you. Clean forgot about it until now. Important message? I wonder what it could be. Is it from Chief Lord Strongheart? Are you going to tell me what this important message is then, Inspector? Yeah, it's about that young lady who's normally by your side. Your assistant? Dear Susie, is she alright? She's at the station, isn't she? Being questioned, I believe? Nope, not anymore. She had to head off. Head off? Where? To Lord Strongheart's office, of course. He summoned her. Ah, yes, of course. I'd forgotten about that. One of the whipstocks took her there in a yard carriage after we finished questioning her. She asked us to tell you she didn't have the fare for the return journey and to go and meet her there. She's got a nerve using Scotland Yard as a bloomin' messaging service. I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector. Why did Susie have to go to see Lord Chief Justice? She didn't tell me. But I'd better head over to the Lord Chief Justice's office to fetch her straight away. Yeah, first we gotta look around for some evidence. Because this down here, the broken lamp, I wanna look at that. Alright then, let's see what we can uncover. Oi, what do you think you're doing, Sunshine? You can't touch anything in here. Oh, but we were hoping to investigate. This is a crime scene, for Pete's sake. No touching. What's the problem, Gregsy? Bruno's a lawyer, you know that. Oh, I'm ever so sorry, your ladyship, ever so sorry. The rules and regulations are a thorn in my side. Of course, if Mr. Naruhodo was to have been properly appointed by the accused, that'd be another matter. The accused? If you could show me some representation papers, I'd be only too happy to let you nose around. Did you hear that, Bruno? You need to sign some representation papers. Looks like blah 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 blah. Looks like presenting the detective here with the correct paperwork is the only way. All right, fine. Let's go to the office. New location. All right, let's see what this suspicious MFer, another trucker, wants. '16th April, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Yes, no matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of oppressiveness somehow. Do you think the place is oppressive? I think it's normal. How so? I mean, look at that suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you? Maybe it thinks the same about you. So everything is clear with regard to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust? Yes, thank you very much. There they are, Susato-san and Lord Stronghold. I wonder what they're talking about. They both look very serious. Very good. There is nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt you have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland. Wait, what did he just say? Your return to your homeland? Susato-san! Why are there birds in his office? Inside a clock tower! Anyway. Oh, sorry. After leaving the big house, Nicole just went around straightening her life. She graduated in engineering, tried taking a job in the army with her dad as an engineering designer, but she didn't get the job. Oh, that's unfortunate. Especially if she went through all the trouble to graduate in engineering. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. What was all that about? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you for coming to collect your colleague. What's this all about? Why were you talking about Miss Susato's return to her homeland? And tomorrow? Tomorrow? What about Jenny's trial? You mean she's been formally charged now? Oh dear. Okay, please elaborate on this going home thing. Miss Susato, what's all this about? Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. It's only me going back to Japan. Your life here can continue just as it had. That's not what I asked. What happened? Why are you leaving? It's my father. He's fallen ill. Oh no. Professor Mikotova? Yes, sorry?
You must be the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
My name is Eugene Mikutova. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yuma University.
I remember him. We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news. 10 days ago, Father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown. And it seems he grows weaker by the day. I don't believe it. As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Miss Susato's departure as much as possible. Yes, absolutely. I have a very strange feeling that that telegram was false, and they're trying to get rid of the one person who, for some reason, knows about the Hounds of Baskerville. But that's going to be hard to prove until later. Later on, she opened up a workshop made from some fire games. She ended up being done. She starts You've really thought about all this story, though, didn't you? How long have you spent thinking about? How long have you spent? That's what I was trying to say. Like, coming up with all this. I will leave London first thing tomorrow morning. I can't believe this is happening. So Gina has been charged? She'll have to appear in court? Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow. No, not even 24 hours later? Gina? Ah, the Lestrade girl and the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes. An all too conspicuous case, the pickpocket was clearly disturbed amid robbery and shot the man in a panic. No, the yard is overstretched as it is without wasting time on these open and shut cases. It's not wasting time. Ginny would never do something like that. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart? In deference of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I have no recollection of admitting a child into my office. Leave, now. Huh? Of course, Lord Strongheart. Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. The police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetrated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend. Serious matters? Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday. It's no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that. Wow, this dude's still sus as fuck. 3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me. There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart. Which is? It's Mrs. Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her. A timely suggestion. Sorry? The girl currently has no representation. But that's not fair. Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial. God, I can't even talk. It's getting late. Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender. The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork, and a defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right. Why would she do that? A question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrade. You'll find her at the local prison. Yes, thank you. Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you. What a day. Gina charged with murder. Susato's son about to leave. Shom's in the hospital. No, it's cool. Forget your friend. 3 months, but to be honest, not 3 consecutive ones. Just came up. I just came around ideas. I like to work with them as they came up, well, minus the Richard romance that just came over naturally. Characters did end up warming over to one another naturally, which is funny since I originally wanted Nicole to be lesbian, but her character just didn't move that way. Hey, man. I think I've seen interviews with writers where they say sometimes they create a character, and sometimes it just takes on a life of its own. It's kind of like Frankenstein, but not in a way where your character wants to kill you. Anyway, Susato. Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Iris, we must make haste. But, Susie, you're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have packing and things to do? As Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can. Thank you, Miss Susato. It's a very pensive look. I think we ought to visit Gina first. In any case, I should like to wish her well before I leave. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go. If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. I'll just have to do what I can as a lawyer. I'm really hoping that Iris pickpocketed Strongheart and got something good. The prison, right? Gina first. '16th April, local prison, cell 13. Ah, hello again, Gina. What are you lot here for now? To have the muzzle of that grenade launcher shoved in our faces yet again, obviously. I think I need to improve the way you load ammunition into that thing, don't I? Look, you can come as many times as you like, but I ain't got nothing more to say to you. Is it time for a heart-to-heart with Susato? Is that what's going on? Gina, I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. What? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell. Farewell. Tomorrow I must begin my journey back home, to Japan. I fear we may never meet again. Oh, right. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it will be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable. Susie. Well, that ain't my business. Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it in your heart to put your faith in them. Yeah, that's right, I can't. What of it? It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they are so clearly unhappy. Because of you. What? It's my fault? Yes, so I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here and now, I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. Huh? Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be. What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh? You told us that everyone lies. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths. That's a good idea. Good going, Susato. This is why you're my assistant, and I'm really hoping you don't leave tomorrow. I didn't want to force it out. She naturally just moved around as herself. The mannerism, character traits, and her just moved one way despite me wanting her to go the other. And to be honest, I love that. I love when my characters do that because it makes them feel more real. At least, yep. That's one of the nice things about, you know, writing a good character. Is how when they do start doing things one way, you might try to direct them, and it's like, nope, it's not going to work. Just naturally wants to go the other. And she still has the gun. Yes, she does. But we already knew she was going to do that when we got here. What about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lies. You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request as a judicial assistant. No, I can't. Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquitted? The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about? Yeah, you're right. Because in that trial, I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe. Will you tell us about it now? Alright, so finally, some information on that weird-ass trial. Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The coppers got hold of me and shoved me in the witnesses stand. And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent. Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff. I knew it. What sort of thing did you lie about? I was hiding under the seat that night. That was the truth. It was pitch black in that little cubbyhole. I couldn't see a thing. And then... thud. I heard that loud thud, like someone falling on the floor. That's when Mr. McGilded discovered you? Yeah. He pulled me out from under the seat and sat me next to the dead man. There weren't much light to see by, but when I looked at me hands, I had the cove's blood all over them. I was so scared I couldn't even speak. You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight. No, yeah, we know that. We went over that already. Then Mr. McGilded started asking you questions, I suppose? Oh, that's Susato, I'm sorry. I suppose. Who you were and why you were hiding under the seat? Yeah, he did. Only, that's not all. mean? I mean, he threatened me. Threatened you how? He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I'd heard. About what he was going to do after the cove was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. If I did that, he said he'd let me scarper before the copper showed up. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. I think there's 3 more options. Got it. Susato being the MVP. Yes, she is. You said McGilded made you swear to not tell anybody what you saw. But you were in the pitch-black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you? Yes, with Mr. McGilded sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I heard the thud of the cove hitting the floor. I let out a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. Mr. McGilded heard that and dragged me out by me arm, and that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer what had been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc? Do you mean... Yeah, that's it. The one what the D took off me at Windy Banks. So the music box disc was there on the floor of the omnibus? Not for long. McGilded spotted it straight away. He picked it up smartish and stuffed it inside his inside pocket. So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder. And the bog trotter told me I weren't to mutter a word of it to no one. Okay. Then what did you hear? Because it was so dark under that seat in the cab, I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin. Presumably that was McGilded getting on board. Nah, not only him. Oh? Because I could definitely make out the footsteps of 2 people. Oh. In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGilded and the victim, the thrice-fired Mason. In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilded claimed he slept during the carriage ride. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it. And your own testimony, Gina, supported his. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that weren't exactly true. Neither of them was asleep. I could hear him talking the whole time in low voices. What? What were they talking about? Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses and the wheels was too loud. That still tells us something. Mr. McGilded and the victim knew each other. So McGilded was lying, as I suspected. Alright. I knew it weren't going to take long before someone raised the alarm that the bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So when the cab came to a stop, McGilded told me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The 2 coves from up top ran off to get the coppers. Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. Right. And after they'd gone, McGilded asked the driver to do him a favor. A favor? Sorry, I'm replaying the... Now then, fella, what I need you to do is to take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. Aye, I'll give you 10 guineas. A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? Yep, you got it. It was Windy Banks. The coachee snapped up the money and ran off to pop this coat as fast as he could. So then there was no one left in the carriage. McGilded opened the box under the seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions. I see. What were McGilded's conditions, then? For letting you go free? Not telling a soul. Not for anything. about what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well. There's more? Yeah. This is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Aye, the fiend's taken me overcoat to deposit with a pawnbroker hereabouts. They want you, lass, to take the redemption ticket for him. Do you understand? What? You want me to have the ticket? That's right, and I'll come fetch it from you later, sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang on to it until then, is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it. Alright then. And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windy Banks so it is, and you're to extend the loan before the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited and any old fiend could come along and buy it. Oh, but I ain't got that kind of brass. Here's £5. That should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now. If you go against me... Yeah, I get it. Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? Aye. They'll come asking you to take the stand in court, to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it that you might say, and what it is that you won't? Alright, so that's why she was at Windy Banks. After he'd gone over it all, I piked it, got as far away from there as I could. He hid the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark. So McGilded planned it, and coerced Gina into giving false testimony. Bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied in that big old courtroom. I told some corkers. The thing is, he said he would make it so we couldn't live in the East End no more. Wait, the thing is, he said he would make it so we couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. Oh, wow. What a wicked man. He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us, and we was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So you mean Mr. McGilded would have... In an heartbeat, he could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he'd wanted. And then where would we have gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have no choice. Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything. But, I'm for it now, eh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid. Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor. Favor? What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. Huh? You don't actually want me to represent you in court. You can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us. Investigate what? The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see. What? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Guinea. Is it bad? Is it gonna be alright? Sholmes is gonna be alright, right? That's why I want to investigate, for Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything. Right. So what you're saying is, if I sign that middle paper, everyone's happy, is that it? Something like that. Miss Susato? Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me, though. No lawyer or nothing. Poor Guinea, she seems so lonely. Nice. Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windy Banks now. Yes, and perhaps we can come back to visit Guinea when we're done there. We also have to visit Sholmes. God damn, there's still a lot to do in this case, and it's already been... Well, it's only been 3 hours and 49 minutes. Wait, 50 minutes, but... I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. Now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windibanks. Although something tells me he's not going to be happy about it. Alright. Unfortunately, I want to keep investigating, but it's already close to going to bedtime, and I gotta go. What does it say? Investigation Part 4. I'm assuming there's just a lot of investigation parts, because there's only, well, like, one trial part. I'm not saying there's only one trial part, but, like, it's not like the other Phoenix Wright games where it's like, it's like trial day 1, trial day 2, trial day 3. Just one big trial. But anyway. Not gonna lie, after this, Nicole would likely take Gina in. Yeah, I believe that. I mean, Gina seems to be opening up, so that's what's really matters. And I'm just surprised that Gina didn't open up sooner if that was her whole reasoning. It's just that, you know, adults are scoundrels. I ran into McGilded, and McGilded was like the worst of the worst, which I guess I can't technically blame her, but like at the same time, these adults have already proved that they're decent people, so whatever. Anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna call that a wrap. Thank you to everyone who dropped by to lurk, to watch, to chat, to hang out. I appreciate it. That guy, thanks for chatting all night. Morrow, thank you for the raid earlier. And yeah, I'm gonna try to either finish this on Monday again, or maybe sometime over the weekend, depending on whether or not I have plans. But if not, I do want to start playing Psychonauts. Because Psychonauts 2 came out, and I really want to start that as well. So I wanted to redo 1, go through 2. So, anyway. That's the plan. So, again, thank you to anyone that dropped by, anyone that watched, everyone that chatted. Any kind of support means the world to me. So for now, just take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you all another day. So, see you later.